Hi friends, it's me, Em again, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things sinister. If you're into true crime or if you like anything horror related, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. That way you can join me for some morbid conversation. Today we're going to chat about the murder of Lauren Giddings, a law school graduate living in Macon, Georgia, who was last seen on June 25, 2011, before her torso was found 5 days later, wrapped in plastic and put in a garbage bin. Lauren had graduated law school, and all that was left was for her to take the bar exam. When she went unheard of for a few days, it was assumed that she was studying intensely for the test. However, after 4 days without any contact, a friend of Lauren's, Ashley Morehouse, who had a key to her apartment, entered her home accompanied by a few friends to search for Lauren. It seemed relatively normal, no signs of struggle, and nothing seemed out of place. But Lauren was not there. They made a missing persons report that day. When police arrived, they did a search of the apartment as well, and nothing stuck out as unusual. There was no forced entry. There was no sign of disturbance. They even checked forensically with luminol and found nothing until they entered her bathroom. The amount of blood that showed with the luminol in the bathroom led police to believe that they may be looking for a body. As police searched the area for more signs, they also interviewed neighbors. However, they were not the only ones interviewing the neighbors. A local TV station was also there interviewing the residents.
Take a look. Person that was living there?
Yeah, Lauren was my neighbor. We're just trying to find out where she is at this point. I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I mean, the last time anyone heard from her was an email that she sent out, and no one's heard from her since.
Did you see her hang out with anyone at the time or anything like that?
I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I haven't seen anything. I mean, you always hear noise outside, but it's just people walking by pretty much.
And she just recently graduated from Mercer?
Yeah, she and I were both JD students. We graduated back in May.
What kind of person was she? I mean, what did you see?
I mean, she's as nice as can be. I mean, very personable, very much a people person.
Do you know any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, we don't know where she is. I mean, the only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. Because we went over. One of her friends had a key. We went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss, but I mean, she had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. I mean, the door was locked when everyone got here. I mean, we just don't know where she is.
Now, would you like to see a murderer shit a brick? Because this particular resident is Stephen McDaniel. The police don't know it yet, but Stephen's actually the one responsible for Lauren's murder. And up until this point, he thought that he was getting away with it. It wasn't until this interview that he actually found out police had found her torso that he had thought he was successful in disposing of.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's how we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
The police would later learn that Stephen committed the murder, and it was during this interview that Stephen heard the police had found Lauren's torso, something he wasn't expecting. Before her death, Giddings had suspected that someone had been in her apartment without her consent, as noted in an email she sent to her friend and conversations she had with her family. Unfortunately for her, she was right. McDaniel had developed an obsessional crush on Lauren, which included him holding a camera up to her window to take video of her inside her apartment, and it escalated to him stealing a master key to her place, allowing him to come and go as he pleased. McDaniel was a former classmate of Giddings, and he was her next-door neighbor. The two were friendly with each other, and Stephen had even asked Lauren out on a date. However, he went from stalking her to breaking into her home to watch her sleep, and culminated in the end of June 2011 when he strangled her and dismembered her in her bathtub. After finding the torso, the police continued their search of the apartment complex, and then they found a sheet and a hacksaw in a laundry room, both with blood on it that would later be identified to be Lauren's. McDaniels was picked up on an unrelated burglary charge, but that gave police the chance to search his apartment. So once the police were able to search Stephen's apartment, not only did they find the packaging to the hacksaw, they also found some of Lauren's underwear. They found those creepy videos that he had taken outside of her apartment window, and the cherry on top of the creep cake, child pornography. So not only is this asshole a murderer, but he is a murderer who has sexual interest in children. Gross. Stephen was offered a plea deal in which if he pled guilty to murder and provided an allocution report to the court detailing what he did to Lauren the night of the murder, including where he disposed the rest of her body, they would drop the 30 exploitation of children's charges, as well as the burglary charge that he was being held for at the time of being charged for murder.
Today, Stephen McDaniel entered a guilty plea to the murder of Lauren Giddings. His guilty plea provides finality to this case and assures justice that cannot be undone. Even more, the guilty plea gives Lauren's family and friends answers that they have wanted and that they deserve.
According to Stephen, he entered her apartment with the master key that morning around 4:30. He dressed in dark clothing and wore a mask and gloves to aid him in being discreet. He watched her as she slept, and when he decided to move closer, the floor squeaked and it caused her to wake up. When she told him to get out, he jumped on top of her and started to strangle her. Lauren put up a fight in which she pulled off his mask. According to Stephen, Lauren said, "Stephen, please stop," before they fell off the bed, and Stephen was able to overpower her and finish strangling her to death. He took her to the bathroom and placed her in her bathtub before he returned back to his apartment. After spending the day in his home, he returned later that day and dismembered her body with a hacksaw. He divided the body into various dumpsters, and it was by chance that the torso was found, as it was due to go out with the trash within a short time of discovery. Unfortunately, the other dumpsters were already collected and the rest of Lauren's body was never found. While Stephen hasn't strayed from his stance that he had no intention of violence that day and that the response was from waking her up, others argue that it was premeditated. While searching the apartment, it was shown that he was regularly checking her social media while also viewing violent pornography. He also already purchased a hacksaw, and finally, Lauren was moving out of that apartment complex. Many speculate that the thought of her moving out was the final straw for Stephen that pushed him into murder. Stephen was sentenced to life in prison for Lauren's murder finally in April of 2014. Because of the plea deal accepted by McDaniel, he won't be eligible for parole until 2041, but given the nature of the crime, it likely won't be granted. All right, guys, thank you again for joining me today. Given what we talk about, I don't want to say it's been fun, but it has been interesting. And if this sort of thing interests you too, once again, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. That way I can see you here next time. Until then, thanks, guys. Bye-bye.